Like, because everybody knows is somebody that's a Mika. That's like, no, I got it. Don't worry about it. Like, you wouldn't have any horror movies ever because it's always the person who's like cocky who instigates Jason and gets his head cut off first. Like, there's always that character. And then having been in the position that he was also kind of in like the power position if you look at it from just like a societal dynamic, right? Like, it's his house, she moved in. It's like, oh, and he was like, then at one point, he's like, he even says something around like it's my house, and so nothing's gonna happen in my house, and you're not gonna mess with my girl at my house. And I'm like, you're just way out of your depth. So it's like, everybody knows that stubborn asshole who just won't. And so, yes, it very easily could have, but I think the other part of it was like his curiosity because it's something that is a novelty to him because it's new. He was like, well, what is this? I want to know what this is.
And we are back with our second episode of the Project Get to Know podcast. My name is Emmanuel, and if you've wondered in this episode, whether it's shared by our guest this week or if the algorithms of your streaming platform winds up on your feed, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow the podcast if you haven't, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you have time. And since it is Halloween, today marks Friday, the 31st of October, and we are talking Halloween. But first, we have our guest this week. We have Korey Konstantine here on our program. Thanks for having you on.
Of course, man.
Yeah.
This is exciting.
Of course, this is a wrestling podcast. And where are you from originally?
Originally from Louisiana, so Baton Rouge area.
Okay. And I was curious because training under Dustin Rhodes and under the Rhodes Wrestling Academy, what was that experience like training under someone who's been on TV for basically like the 5 decades that he's been on?
Yep. So transparently, I'm still over there and I'm leading some of the beginners and helping train some of the new beginners over there now. But it was actually crucial with somewhat of a life altering decision because when I was looking to leave Louisiana, I was looking between Austin, Tampa, and Atlanta. If I was going to go to Tampa, I would possibly drive out to Orlando, maybe go to Team 3D or Jay Lethal or somebody like that. Atlanta, obviously, Nightmare Factory. And then Austin, I had been coming here for years. I'm just kind of like on vacations and stuff like that and loved the city. So once I saw that Dustin was opening a school, I was like, well, that's that. Like, it's Austin then. And he was always one of my favorites to watch, obviously under the Gold Dust character and everything like that, kind of implementing some of his mannerisms and things earlier on in my career when I was doing like face paint and kind of like a slightly more different persona, if you will. So yeah, it's been awesome. And to actually be able to get to build rapport and have that level of trust is something I never would have expected or even thought being possible. So it's been really cool.
It's kind of nice to have that experience too, but to like once you've gone through the training regimen that he's done, what was it like to take all that experience and actually like making it into your own when you're starting to like, hey, I want to do this wrestling thing with the knowledge that I have from Dustin?
Yeah. So I kind of lean on him more with kind of what he wants as far as matches and things like that. And any kind of small tweaks that I might be able to make, any kind of character changes or things that might need adjusting or improving. But before I got here to Dustin's, I had actually started training back in 2011. So I've been in the business for a little bit, but just going to Dustin was kind of like, this is the next step. I need somebody who's been there, done that, who knows exactly what to look for, and can help impart that knowledge on me to help me get to the next level.
And what's kind of nice too is like to go, and I was gonna ask about your debut too, like what was that like applying what you've learned to just getting your debut out of the way and just learning from that debut moving forward?
It was kind of nerve-wracking more than anything because you're now in front of somebody who you've been watching for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And so you feel extra pressure to perform, like no disregard to any other independent or anything that I've worked for, but when you're working in front of somebody who's a legitimate legend, it makes you up your game. So if anything, it helped me kind of slow down a bit more and be more present and be able to take more control, which is something that is kind of difficult to do to stay comfortable and calm in that kind of scenario when there's a lot of moving parts that's happening. So that's probably the biggest thing that I've been able to learn and take away.
You've done some work too outside of Rhodes, and a match that kind of came into mind because I re-announced that match is over at APW like within the last year. That Star Wars match with Alex Arsenal, that one was probably the most like funniest matches I've seen in a while. Like, of course, the wrestling's part of it, but to
Yeah.
have the fun and levity incorporating Star Wars into a match, what was that like to apply what you've learned to something that you have a fandom of, like in Star Wars?
Yeah. So that's something that had been kind of on my bucket list for a while. Obviously,
Okay.
having been being like a Star Wars fan, and then just happened to actually be on a show on Star Wars Day. I was like, well, I can't pass this up. So those were my lightsabers that I brought. I didn't even ask him beforehand. I asked him once we got there. I was like, "Hey, man, how do you feel about doing this?" He's like, "Yeah, I mean, that's fine," because he's quite a character himself, despite kind of what his presentation might be. But yeah, he was totally down for it. And I mean, I learned kind of just listening. I listen to a lot of wrestling podcasts, especially the Great Minds and stuff like that. So one of the things that I've learned is, especially from William Regal, is like he can take you through that whole gamut, right? So like he can fall flat on his face and make a total ass of himself and make you
Mm-hmm.
laugh, and then 3 seconds later he's a vicious heel, and then you remember who he actually is. So part of that was kind of for me. It was just like everybody wants to be the kicker or kisser, whichever way, but that doesn't help you stand out. You know what I mean? And it's if everything's so serious, then it's not as fun. So I'm kind of at the part of my career where it's like, how big of an ass can I make of myself while still maintaining credibility? And now I'm just here to have fun, you know?
Yeah, it's self-deprecations. I mean, that's part of a lot of humor is like you want to make sure the audience is like, oh, he's having a good time, like like he's
Yeah,
just there. But at the same time, there is a match. What was
yeah.
that like communicating with Alex like before the match even started? Like, hey, we're doing the Star Wars match. What was that like having someone different with Alex, who's in a different city altogether, say to do this Star Wars match at APW?
It came together pretty easily. I mean, honestly, the only thing that we really cared about was like how are we going to get the lightsabers and everything like that. And so we just kind of started bouncing ideas out off of each other. And then I think I'm going to say it was his idea that somebody like threw it to him. So like off camera, it looked like he just used the force. And then like just the force choke thing, I was like, this is an absolutely ridiculous and
Oh,
fun
I
way
popped. Don't worry.
to
I
get
was like,
into it. Yeah, yeah. So I was like, oh, it's working. It's like, man, it's not working. Here's a choke slam for your problems. Like, so yeah, he was super on board, and then like he came through with ideas too. So it was pretty collaborative, and it was just meant to be fun.
yeah.
That was we were gonna possibly build that into more things going down the road, but with wrestling, it's hard to coordinate schedules and both be at the same place at the same time.
I'm curious, what other movie franchises would you like to have a wrestling match out of?
Man, well, I mean, we've hit that one, right? We've hit that. We've hit. I think it'd be kind of fun or ridiculous to figure out some kind of way to do like something out of Deadpool, especially like having done like Deadpool Wolverine. That movie would. I feel like there's just gold to be had there.
Oh my, that's a
I don't know
Halloween
how.
match. That's a Halloween.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know how to get there, but I feel like that's another thing that he and I could probably do and play off of. Also, like just a big Harry Potter fan as far as that goes. So
That's pretty cool.
there's no shortage. I think we're noticing a pattern here. There's some kind of wizardry, whether it's deep space or if it's you know or mid to early '90s, 2000s over in the UK. Bit of whimsy. Yeah, those are probably the main ones.
And I was thinking like Deadpool is basically comic book fandom, so that's a different thing
Yeah,
altogether. So like,
altogether different.
it's wrestling is everything at that point too, and
Yes.
it's one of those it's one of those like things where like even if it's just like like as long as the fans are in on it and they're having fun with it, and
Yeah.
there's and I used to remember having a guest on. It could be the greatest thing that they'll ever see in their life, or what did I just watch? It's never both.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it can be both. There's I forget what it's called. If you ever seen like Evil Uno's promotion that he
No.
has, that's like mystery, it's like mystery wrestling or something like that.
Yep.
There's
Yes, it is.
always all kinds of ridiculous stuff. It's a kind of a mix of like that's the best thing I've ever seen, and also like what?
It's like because I've watched those mystery wrestling shows. It's like, all right, there's some matches that are like legitimate like bangers. It's a
Yeah.
comedy wrestling promotion, which makes it even interesting and under a shroud that like you don't know who's in the card, but
Yeah.
whoever pops up, it could be the greatest thing that you'll ever watch. You can laugh at it, or you could be like,
Mhm.
what did I just do? You know, should
Yeah.
just wait for the is it a water break match? Like, that whole thing. So it's like it's one of those extremes that can happen.
Yeah. Which I mean that kind of brings me around. Like there's another promotion in Austin called Slam Portal. That's very much in like that comedy blend kind of thing, where there's a lot of ridiculousness, but it's also, wrestling as well. So there's something in Austin for that as well called Slam Portal. But yeah, I have a lot of fun with those shows too. Like,
Mhm.
they've made me like the gaslighter, Korey Constantine. So I come out with a gas can and I just tell a bunch of lies and make people feel
Wow.
crazy about themselves. So there's just like all kind of ridiculous gimmicks. Like there's a guy named Chuck Steak. Tremendous. And he comes out.
He's the butcher, right? He has like the
Yeah.
overalls and all.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's ridiculousness and wrestling go hand in hand. And it's like those shows are just fun because you know that you're there to pop yourself or pop the crowd or whatever. Like not even like in a, oh my God, that was amazing, but like to make people laugh.
High def camera on. My girlfriend Katie, she thinks there's something in the house. I don't know.
You believe me, right?
I think we're gonna have a very interesting time capturing whatever paranormal phenomena is occurring or is not occurring. Windows are locked, doors are locked, the alarm is on. I'm hearing a weird sound.
Something's here. I feel it breathing on me.
There's footsteps in, but there's no footsteps out.
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
If you do try to play games with it, that's inviting it in.
Jeez, looks like something bit you.
It's not the house. It's me.
You cannot run from this. It will follow you.
I'm in control.
You're not in control.
What's happening to me?
This thing left a message.
If it's not a ghost, what is it?
So it's Halloween, and we've decided on a movie because we can say favorite scary movie. We can say Friday the 13th. We can say Halloween. We can say Scream. But when we were discussing in private on a movie, and you've chosen either the fourth kind or Paranormal Activity, and you mentioned that Paranormal Activity is the movie that stuck with you. How did that movie really had in it before even breaking it down? And of course, spoilers. This will be a spoiler heavy episode on Paranormal Activity, but to have that movie really stick by you, how did that make you feel seeing the movie for the first time?
Oh my God. 100%. I did not sleep the first night at all.
Mike.
I could not sleep. Like I'm very like paranormal stuff, especially like that freaks me out. I had a couple of weird experiences. I think I'm extra sensitive to that kind of stuff. So having gone and seen that and just
I see.
how very raw it is. I was doing a little bit of research earlier on, and they shot the movie on $1,000 budget. So like it's like super gritty. And it wasn't until Paramount came in at the end and threw another $300,000 on it, pretty much just for the ending. It's so gritty and it's so real. And I remember going down like a rabbit hole even after it had gotten released, and I was like, yo, is this real? I started looking up like what happened to Katie? What happened to Mika? Are they alive? Like It was almost like Blair Witch Projects, you know what I mean? Like early
Yep.
2000s, but like more modernized because of how raw it was. And then whenever you look it up, the actors and actresses, it's their actual names in the, like even the doctor, that's his actual name. And I'm like, oh, bruh, no. So I was like dead set sold for a while. I was like, this was real and somebody died and that was real footage. Um, whatever, it's stupid in 19, but now I'm stupid in 35. Um, but yeah, it stuck with me and like having rewatched it earlier, I was like, oh my God, this is
It's different. It hits so different. It's
it's
like
still
because
bad, it's still bad. Like bad. Like not bad and like it's a crap movie. Like bad and like it still freaks me out. Like I know what's
yeah,
happening. I know now what I didn't know then. Obviously, I'm not in a big theater surrounded by people, which actually made it better because everybody's in there experiencing it with you. I think it was worse today watching it and I'm by myself in my house with the lights off. I'm like, this is a terrible idea. Why am I
that's
doing this
not
to myself?
normal.
No, it makes it worse because like I'm not in an auditorium with like booming noises and everything, like people around me that I can see. If there's anybody I can grab onto, no, it's just me by myself in my house. And
Oh
now my
my
cat's
god.
making weird noise in the bathroom and knocking stuff around, and I just got goosebumps.
Because it's night. I find it fascinating because we've both seen it in theaters. I saw it. I remember this too. I saw it at an AMC theater. I was in New Jersey at the time. I was at an AMC theater in a place called Newport Mall, and there was a crowd. I did not watch the trailer, so I just like walked into like the marquee, like what's the movies coming on for that week, and it was like Paranormal Activity. There's like some kiddie movies. I'm not gonna watch through all that, but like seeing it without the trailer, I sat down and
Mhm.
it started off as a vlog. Like,
Yeah,
okay, because it's like the guy has like a fourth, like I'm sure it's expensive back in 2009. He has like
yeah,
a fancy camera rig
yeah.
and like he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go record my life and all of this stuff. It started off very unsuspecting because it's like, okay, he's probably recording his life and seeing how that works. It started off normal. And then later on in the movie, it's like, what is going on? But which leads me to what I'm gonna ask. Like, um what was your first time seeing the movie?
Like where was I in like the theater and all that? It was a theater in Baton Rouge. I want to say it might have been Rave back when those still existed.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and it wasn't like a daytime. It was like no, of course it was almost the latest showing that you could have gone
Right.
to, or didn't help not sleeping later. Um, but I can remember it's very dry. So like almost going into it, just there's no music. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
it's not cinematic, like you said. It's like vlog. So it starts off like there's no your baseline is already feeling kind of tense. So you're not opening like a normal movie. Like
Yeah.
he pulls up in the car or whatever, and then it's like it just feels like eh. But then like she starts, you immediately are brought in, and they're like, oh, why are you doing this? Oh, because there was a ghost or whatever that was following me. So I got a camera so
Mhm.
that I can track everything. I'm like, you're already off to a bad start. Like, why are you going to poke the bear?
Because
And
I
then he
think, good.
proceeds to poke the bear or the demon throughout the whole movie. And I'm like, you just sit there and you're just cringing, like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this?
Because I think when the first encounter happens, because again, it's very slice of life, like the first like quarter of the movie, and it's like so the first act of the movie, it's
Yeah,
like slice of life. But when he recorded on the very first night, and you hear the hum in the if you've seen the streaming version of it, it's like low sound, low humming sound, and then you
yeah.
hear that slight thump, and of course
I think
Mika.
but even before the thump, there was the door just slightly moved. Like the first thing was the door
Yes.
just slightly moving this way and that way. And then it was a thump. And they were like, huh? And then but like it was always that low hum. It's like just that. I think what makes it so effective is because it's based in somebody's bedroom. Like so much of it and all of the stuff happens in the bedroom where it's just like that's supposed to be your safe place, right? That's where you're resting and everything else. But like, no. So then I naturally, like me, I go home and I'm like, well, I'm not freaking going to sleep because that's where the demon happens, is in the room.
Yeah.
And I think that's what made it so effective is because it's so intimate of like, that's your safe space. That's where you're resting. And now you can't rest.
Yeah, it's like you're aware, but at that time it didn't even sound like it didn't even sound that they're aware. They're just like, when they saw the video after the fact, they're like, oh, something is happening. They're not sure what it was.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, let's keep going. Like, wait, you should have stopped right there. The movie should have ended right there. But
no. Dude, no. The second she tells me, which first of all, shame on Katie, because she didn't tell this dude until she's like, oh, by the way, I have a demon that's been following me around. Thanks for inviting me to live with you now.
Wait.
And I'm going to tell you when I'm moving in or just before moving in. No, I would have had a demonologist at the door to greet you before you even got in the house. And we would have sorted that out and there would have been no movie. But that's why.
But they had a psychic. That's the problem. They had they had a
psychic
medium.
Couldn't do anything.
And it's not even the specialty. Like, I think he said it himself. Like, I only deal with ghosts.
Yeah.
Demons are not my thing. And I have this contact to have a demonologist help you out. The thing is, Mika was too hard-headed to even realize that there is someone who can help. But like, let's keep going, which led to having these encounters being more intense because now, like, he's not aware that it's coming closer and closer and closer to Katie, and like the thumps happened to the point where like Katie's paying attention, but Mika's like, it's okay, let's play it off. Maybe it won't happen again. And that's what that was like the head scratcher moment.
No, there was one moment in the movie where he's like, what's going on? You haven't done anything weird lately.
That's right, like, yeah.
Fucking leave it alone. Like, good. It's not supposed to. But like, so the psychology behind it too is like, he's instigating the demon, which is irritating Katie. So then the demon's feeding off the negative energy that he's stirring up in Katie. And then he brings the freaking Ouija board in, which she was like, y'all do that. And then she hits the roof and then things really start ramping up from there. And I'm like, dude, what are we doing?
They brought it to themselves too, because
no, he brought
suggested. Yeah, he brought it. That's right. He brought it. Because I think like also like
and he was a little shit about it too. Because he said, I won't go buy one. Yeah, I won't go buy one. And he was like, and then she sees it. He's like, yeah, I said I wouldn't buy one. I borrowed it. Mother.
It's such a head scratcher to the point where you're like, the whole entire a story has to progress. You can't just like have the resolution right off the bat, but like to have these like those pratfalls and those slips, the story has to keep going. And it's like, the encounters got more intense to the point where, man, I remember I'm trying to remember what happened.
She got drug out the bed.
Yes.
Oh, dude, I like even still talking about like I have goosebumps everywhere. Yeah, I'm not pulling a Dwayne, but like legit goosebumps everywhere.
Yeah, because like that was the point in that movie where the whoever this entity was like, all right, I've been telling you, I'm going to come over. And then when they drug out the bed, before we even talk about the bite mark, and it's like, that should have stopped them from doing it. But Mika kept going. He's still poking them. He's trying to figure out, all right, how stupid can this get from that standpoint?
And you thought that he could fix it and he could solve it. And I'm like, dude, you have zero training. You have no idea what this thing is. He's like, oh, but I did my research. And I'm like, you're one of those people.
What research?
Yeah.
Research.
Yeah. It's like people nowadays, and you're talking about any kind of anything in the world, like, oh, well, go do your research. I'm like, you got to catch up on somebody who's an expert. Like, what do you mean do your research?
It's like this is before Google was a Google is my
Yeah,
Google is my next
we're
one.
probably still asking Jeeves back then, like
Because I think they brought in the psychic one last time,
yeah.
and he
And,
knew something was off,
dude, he
and he's
did. He
like,
was in
oh,
there for like a minute, and he was like, "Yeah, I gotta go because it doesn't want me in here." And I'm like, follow him. Go where I." It's like, "Oh, it's like, can we leave?" And they're like, "That's not gonna help you." And I'm like, "Oh no."
and it's like we keep bringing the demonologist. Yeah, he's out of town.
Of course he is.
Great.
Of course he is. Yeah. You don't have any, you have no other. Go back through your Rolodex. Like, what do we, you have one, you only have one, and you're in this line of work. There's only one.
Yeah, and
What
it's
were,
like
what was Ed and Lorraine doing? Like, were they not available? They must have been
it's like,
occupied with Annabelle again.
it's the Conjuring. You might as well bring them over in that universe. But
Yeah.
the main climax too is not just being drugged out of the bed, but for her to get bit. That was kind of like the demon was like, all right, they're not listening. Okay, let me do my thing. And it's one of those like moments where they drug out. I mean, like it's literally like they went out the room, which is kind of an interesting use of camera work where like, where's the fight? Where's the demon? How is he gonna bite? Where did that bite mark come from? Until they brought her back in the bedroom and you see the visible mark on her back, and it's like, yep, that's the demon does not care about what you're doing. He's there to wreak havoc on whatever was happening in that house.
Yeah. And I don't think that he was like, the demon was even like, I warned you. Like, it was a gradual progression to see how much more could he feed and strengthen and then like complete the possession. Um, oh man, we skipped over a scene though. Like when she leaves the bedroom on her own accord, and then she's just outside chilling on the swing, and allegedly it's cold, and she's like, "No, I'm good." I especially because like you have that camera work where it's just that one single shot, but you're looking around, right? And it's just there's nothing, there's nothing, there's nothing, there's nothing, and that whole time we're just like, where's the jump scare gonna happen?
Yeah.
And then there's no actual jump scare that happens. And it just made it's so tense. But then just going outside and you just see her like in that trance state and you're like, ugh.
Yeah. Because I
And it
think
just
like silence plays a huge part in that entire movie. Because like, I mean, again, it's not a slasher. It's not like a final girl scenario. It's a supernatural and silent. That entire movie, there's not much noise at all. I mean, minus we're gonna hit the ending real soon. It was just quiet, and you just hear like the videotape just rewinding to the day, and it's just either that low humming sound, the door slamming out of nowhere, like the limited amount of noise that the movie used. It aided to the tension because you never know who's gonna jump until the movie served its purpose when that sound's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's ugh. But that I guess like riffing off of that and like blending this back into wrestling, like they always say like less is more. Like this movie is the definition of less is more. Like we talked about like the low budget and everything like that. I don't think this movie scared me more than any other movie has probably ever scared me. Like any of your big budget slashers or any of your throw in CGI or whatever, like I can kind of deal with that. This is because there's so little. It makes you come up with your own situation, your own scenario of what's actually happening, and you're filling in your own blanks. So where rather than everything being like inundating you with like violence or gore or like sound and music, it's like nothing. You feel like you're almost in the room with them.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it even worse. And because you're not there and you can't see, like if anybody has like control things or control issues where like they have to know everything. And because this movie takes that away from you, you're forced to just sit there in suspense and not know. So it's just like, it's the definition of like less is more.
And it's forced perspective because
Yeah.
that besides them walking around the house in the daytime, and it's like the old night vision camcorder lights, and it's just the bed, it's just the bedroom door opening, and it's just them asleep. That's the only element of how that scene is set up, because if one element gives it away, it ruins like the tension of how a scene's going to be. And like with the ending, what I liked about it is it's still that forced perspective, and you hear Katie scream, and you're like, oh shoot. And then Mika runs in, and it's like a minute of silence. You don't know when the fight's gonna happen, and then suddenly the Mika's body hits the camera. And
Well,
that was that.
before that though,
Yeah.
it's even worse because like it's the scream. He runs down as a quick tussle, and then like you said, silence. But then it's Katie with the demon in her coming up the stairs because you recognize that same sound from before of how heavy those footsteps were. And so it's what, 30 to 45 seconds of just slow plodding footsteps coming up the stairs until then the body gets thrown, hits the camera, bam, camera falls down, and you just see the body here, and then she is standing, and then she proceeds to crawl really creepily over the body and like sniffs it for a bit
Yeah.
before coming up a little bit, and then you see that like how they had tied into the girl who it happened to in the 60s, where you kind of saw like that distorted face or whatever from the demon. Like it's that here, we're paused, we look at the camera, normal, smile, and then like come up a little bit closer, that shriek in the distorted face, and you're like, huh. But even before that, like you knew shit was gonna go down before that scene, whenever she didn't want to leave, and then you hear she's laying in the bed, Mika goes out of the room, and she's still there as if she was still talking to him, and you hear, we're safe here, or we feel safe here, or something like that. But it's the last word which he says here that you hear the blended voices together, and that's your first like, oh no.
She's possessed. It's like, what the heck?
Yeah. But like it's so subtle. I actually rewound it and I was like, hang on, what was that? And sure enough, you could hear the voices overlaying each other. And I was like, oh, I missed that the first time. Yeah. So then that's like your one and only tip. And she's laying there, but then she smiles again. It's that same smile that happens in the bed, that happens after Mika's dead. And like that last shot when she looks into the camera, that same smile, that same smirk, that kind of tips it off, obviously, before the obvious of like the face distortion. And I was like, this is.
She's bloody too. And that's the thing that I noticed. It's a transformation from her, like basically, like, yeah, she has like regular clothes on, but by the end of
that white shirt, man. If they're wearing white, you know blood's going on it.
Yep. And that was like the full transformation to be possessed. And it's like one of those endings where like it really it kind of left on I wouldn't say cliffhanger, but like it ended the way that how basically Mika just trying to like really instigate whatever that entity was, and that was like the resolution that happened, and like that's what you get. That's it's like your girlfriend is now possessed.
Yeah, and you had like the slight foreshadowing too before that of like it was just his face being punched by the demon over in the picture. And he's like, why is it only my face? And she's like, I don't know. It's like, what do you mean, why is it only your face?
So
this has been your fault the whole time.
Yeah. Because I was going to ask, because I think, and it's not, there's alternate endings too with this too.
I was reading up on that, yeah.
Two? So the first one,
I read about them though, and I was like, what?
Yeah, because the one that surprised me was, so they originally released it at a horror movie festival. It's called Screamfest back in 2007. This is before Paramount got the rights for the movie.
Right.
And It was grounded. I wish I could watch it, but I don't want to get DMCA. I already have one thing. I don't want to go through that. But it's basically like the ending. It's like that first half of the ending. Katie screaming. He runs in, kills him, and she was just rocking back and forth for hours. And I
feel
think that
like
was the
that's the
possession
original
coming
ending
in.
that I saw, but you said it was only played at a theater. I could swear that
It
might
was
have
it
been
was a horror movie festival. Yeah, it was a.
yeah,
It
the
was called. Let me
festival.
just double check. I don't want to. I think it is. Oh, I'm going to edit this. So the ending is from. So it was screened once in that ending.
Okay.
So this was at a Screamfest Film Festival back in '07, before Paramount and Blumhouse got the movie franchise and doing it in their own way after the pickup. So basically, it's one half of the theatrical ending where Katie kills Mika. She comes back in the bedroom and she was just rocking back and forth, back and forth. It took days. I'm not sure if it's days because it really sped up the time. And then there was a welfare check from the police. And of course, like welfare checks, police will just come in and they were like, hey, is anyone here? Everyone okay? It's just a welfare check. When the cops' flashlights walked up to their room, and she's like, where's Mika? Where is he? She had the knife. She ran in. And then the cops, of course, instinct for cops is like, oh, shoot, she got a weapon. And then they killed Katie on the spot. And the cops were just like, shots fired. And it's like, oh, that's like a definite end if they did that at that point. And the second ending, which is kind of whack, like it's the same scene and then Katie offs herself.
Yeah, that's what I read. Yeah. Which also effective, you know?
Yeah.
But I guess you can't really, have a series after that. Well, you can have your next one, which was the prequel. But I haven't really gone back and watched any other ones. I remember, I know I've seen at least through 3, but I just remember like nothing was as scary to me as the first one.
Yeah, that's a high bar because like Paranormal Activity is one of those. Again, it's found footage. It's something that's been in the theater space for a while, but it's very unique because of how, again, it's that limited budget and creativity always shines when there's limited resources. And the movie, let me just see how much they made in the box office just on
something
that.
like, I think it was 190 million worldwide.
Yeah. And it's at 194 for everything. So like to have that limited resource and to deliver, I mean Blair Witch is in that same stratosphere, but I think it's like Paranormal first and then Blair Witch is just right under that range.
Well,
so like,
I think I read a stat that it was like possibly the biggest ROI for a movie possibly like ever. And like it might have gotten slightly altered after Paramount threw like 300,000 at it, which you're still sub $1 million, and you don't see movies sub $1 million that are like, blockbuster in the actual theaters. You might see like small screenings for like a day or two, on like independent films, but nothing that blows up to that level.
Yeah, it's nice to see like those types of movies where you see it grow organically, even with the limited resources that it has. And it's one of those movies where it's rare to see that, but when it does show up and it does succeed where it needs to go, it sucks that it became a franchise. That's the only thing that kind of turned me off a little bit. This is my take. They should have stopped at 1 and then leave that theatrical ending hanging.
Yeah. Or if you're gonna do another one, then give me the prequel, but I don't need anything. Like, let me know how it came to be and like what the backstory is, but I don't need more than that. And I mean, technically, I don't even necessarily need that, but it's just, it was intriguing to be trying to figure out, okay, what happened? And even still, like, I say that a prequel was great, or like having a prequel would be great, but I tried to go and read the synopsis on like, how did all of this happen and get tied to Katie? And I'm still not 100% sure. Something was like, it was tied to her sister, but then her sister and the housekeeper performed a ritual to get it off of them so that it wouldn't take their son, so that it wouldn't like some
What
kind
the
of,
heck? That's like
yeah,
that's like
some kind of whatever to
this,
like, hey, don't kill me or my son, but you can go kill my sister. Like, that's fucked up, man.
It's transference. It's
Yeah,
transference in essence. That's what it is.
yeah.
Oh,
But even still, like,
but yeah.
and by your sister, like her sister apparently was haunted by it. And that's how like she was familiar with what it was, but it never directly, I guess, targeted her until her sister later in life, like after she had a son or something, like transferred it over to her via her housekeeper, who was like a Hispanic lady or something who just happened to know that. Like, what?
It's a coincidence. Like, what is this?
What a find.
Um, it's like nothing happened. But
Yeah.
let's sum it up here, and we'll put a bow tie on it, and we'll go back to the earlier question too. We talked about how much the movie gave you an impression that really left you, well, it left you in a certain way. Seeing it for more than once, how is that experience different than seeing it for the first time?
I have the knowledge now that it is in fact a movie and not actual found footage, so I can sleep. Uh, but again, like I'd said before, it's different. I still got scared watching it again. I still got scared, and like I said, I don't know if it wasn't as bad as the first time because I could kind of remember some scenes, like, oh, this is gonna happen, oh, that's gonna happen. Um, but it was equally just as bad because I wasn't in a theater or surrounded by people. I was by myself in my house with the lights off, and I was like, not great. So it's still gonna hang with me, and it's still something that like probably for the next week, whenever I hear a random noise, that's probably my cat just knocking something off the counter. I'm still gonna freak out a little bit.
Oh my goodness. I was going to ask because I think for me seeing it the second time, I was aware where it's heading, but of course, like, no, it's that old tagline from Cinema Sins, no movies without sin. And I saw like the plot holes, and it's like, you could have ended it when this happened. You could have
You
ended
could have,
by just calling the demonologist right off the bat if he suggested it. So like
but
for
it's
me,
still
it's
very
like,
real.
yeah.
Like, cause everybody knows as somebody that's a Mika. That's like, no,
Yeah.
I got it. Don't worry about it. Like, you wouldn't have any horror movies ever because it's always the person who's like cocky who instigates Jason then gets head cut off first. Like, there's always that character. And then having been in the position that he was in, he was also kind of in like the power position. If you look at it from just like a societal dynamic, right? Like, it's his house. She moved in. It's like, oh, and he
I'll
was
do my
like, even
best
at one point,
to
he's
make
like,
it
he even
work.
says something around like it's my house, and so nothing's gonna happen in my house, and you're not gonna mess with my girl in my house. And I'm like, you're just way out of your depth. So it's like everybody knows that stubborn asshole who just won't. And so yes, it very easily could have, but I think the other part of it was like his curiosity because it's something that is a novelty to him because it's new. He was like, well, what is this? I want to know what this is. And you have
Right.
that very split polarizing thing where Katie is like, please don't, please don't, please don't, please don't, please don't. And Mika's just like, but maybe, like, what if I get a camera? And she's like, I don't even want the camera. So everybody
I just
has a
want this
Mika.
out of my life. Let's
Yeah.
get that out of the way.
And she implored him like 4 times throughout the movie. And he was like, nah, not in my house. Like, oh my God.
Oh,
So
my
everybody
goodness.
has
It's
a
a
Mika.
very,
So it's also relatable, you know? So yes, it's a
yeah.
plot hole, but it's also like she just moved from wherever to his house and now she has no assets per se of her own except her car. And she can't leave to get away from it because it's going to follow her anyway. Which I guess, yeah, she could have just driven somewhere and gone and seen it, but I don't know. I don't know if the
They
demon then
needed a
hung out in
plot.
the house. Yeah, it was the demon hanging out in the house though, right? So like, would it have followed her in the car to the demonologist? I don't know.
Yeah. They needed a plot. They needed a Mika just so that like it's a head scratcher, but they need to keep the story moving because like if it's someone someone who is level-headed, the movie would have been done in like 10 minutes instead
That's
of an
what I
hour and a
said,
half.
man. From jump, like as soon as she would have told me if that's my girlfriend, I'm having a demonologist at the door before she crosses the threshold. Like
Yeah.
none of that. That movie would have been $300 to film because it just would have been filming 3 people for an hour of their time, $100 each. We're
It's
out.
over.
Like it's over.
Box office draw.
Yeah,
World's shortest found footage movie.
yeah, that's it.
Which I'm gonna ask again. I thought I cut you off.
No, you're good.
Okay, so of course, Paranormal Activity is just one of many found footage movies, and we'll get one recommendation. So I'll let you go first. What is a found footage movie that that you enjoyed? Like whether it's once or multiple times.
It's so there's a theme, right? Because I suggested the other one was The Fourth Kind, and that's a blended found footage style.
Oh,
Like there is some
let me find
cinematography, but
it.
there's also yeah, it's also very found footage. Like you have I think she's like a therapist or something like that, or she goes to a therapist. So there's a lot of people like in a therapist's office, and you have that still shot. And one of the climaxes of the movie is that still shot, like found footage.
Mhm.
So it's a lot of that, and so it's I think it's just that extra gritty and makes you feel like, oh, this could happen to me. So yeah, it's not as found footage as Paranormal Activity, but there's definitely elements of it blended in for sure.
Oh, so it's like it's horror, but it to have an element of found footage is what makes the movie like really really cool to watch.
Yeah, especially like the climax scene is very in your face found footage, not like there's not like obviously there's effects that are happening because of what it is, but it's very in your face, very raw feeling because of the way it comes to culminate.
Mm. Mine is gonna be Wreck. Wreck was
Wreck?
so fun because I mean it's infected. It was possessed, but it's technically a zombie movie. But they're
Okay.
possessed by demons. But I treated it as a zombie movie just for that reason because everyone's infected one way or another. But also, I think because I'm the technical like movie guy, I tend to see more of how a movie was shot. But like when you see if you've seen it and it's like shaky cam and there's so many things going on from the perspective from the camera person to like know that okay this is not normal. They're in this abandoned house, there's demon possessed people and they're just recording and cataloging what's going on to the point where like where it ended and it's like oh shit okay this is like that's what got me through that is just like how it's shot but also like how like it's tension through think 28 days later like in terms of like in your face very tense action and
Mhm.
it's really opposite of what Paranormal Activity is where it's silence. This was like seeing an action movie but it's through the eyes of like a news cameraman. It switches like different hands in throughout the events of the movie, so that one was kind of like the fan footage movie for me for a while and then
Okay.
Paranormal kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah. I think it's at the top of the list for sure. But Rec, like WRECK?
REC.
REC. Okay. Got it.
Yeah, REC. It's fun. I watched it 5 times. That's how sick in the head I saw it 5 times throughout that time. But I was there for. It's like think of it this way. I'm reading Playboy for the articles. That's
Yeah,
that's what
of course.
it is.
We all are. What are you talking about?
So I'm watching
I
Rec
flip right
for the
past the cynic.
cinematography.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this is great. And like the one thing that Paranormal Activity kind of set forth too is you see a genre that Blair Witch had the foundation of doing. Paranormal Activity came out of nowhere. Wreck came
Yeah.
out of nowhere. There's a lot of like Korean. I have to find the shows in Netflix. I'll send you the link on that. There's a lot of found footage in like Korean, Japan, where you see where Blair Witch and Paranormal were kind of like the pioneers. You see every single horror movie follow in the same footsteps in the found footage genre because it's a rare genre to see nowadays in theater, because everyone wants to see the gore, everyone wants to see the slashes, everyone wants to revisit the kit ma every single time. But the found footage genre has been, it's a very rare genre to see, but if it works, it works.
Yeah. No, this one works. It works. And I kind of like what you're saying too. Like, I think it also gave way to the whole Conjuring series, which again, you probably could have stopped after one, maybe two.
They have the final one now too, and I'm like, come on.
I thought we had the final one. I'm still haven't seen Annabelle, and I probably won't, because dolls creep me out, and a possessed doll is worse.
Yeah. Have you seen the actual doll that they based it out of? It looked, how can I say that? It's very, very
like a Raggedy Ann,
like
right?
Cute... What's that?
It's kind of like a Raggedy Ann doll.
Yeah. It's very innocent on the offset, but it's behind a glass box, and a glass, like a wooden box with glass. And it's like, that's a red flag.
Yeah. And there was like a story that not that long ago, they're like, oh yeah, we were bringing it around the country, and it was in New Orleans, and like, we lost it. And I was like, what do you mean we lost it?
What does that mean?
What do you find it? It's absolutely not.
Goodness.
We have enough problems. I don't need to add that. No.
Just shows up in your house. Like, wow.
Oh my gosh. No. Write my suicide note now. If that happened, I'd be dead.
So before we ramble about dolls and the supernatural, we'll take a different route with the episode today. Halloween is around the corner, so if you are out there trick or treating, or if you're out there doing your costume parties, do it safely, please do. It's a lot of fun on Halloween, but yeah, just be safe in wherever you're going. And we'll end this episode here. Thanks, Korey, for having you on. This was fun talking Paranormal Activity with you and talking about the movie and how we feel about it when we watched it leading up to this episode. And it's always a pleasure to speak with you, whether it's in wrestling or here we're talking on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely, man. This was fun. Thank you.
All right, awesome. So for those who are watching, whether you're on Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and on Apple Podcast, thank you so much for tuning in. And we'll be back next week with one episode this month in November, and we'll be on to the next one.